So I just got off the phone with a $1 billion rail executive, and what I'm going to share with you, I think, and what I learned could probably change the way that you do real estate. I don't know, but I'm going to share with you everything I learned. Took some notes. So one of the most fascinating conversations I've had in a long time, because they want one of my properties, and because of that, I love leveraging just lessons that I could learn, because we haven't finalized our negotiations. We're kind of just going back and forth, right? And so let me make sure that you could hear me. So with that being said, I highly recommend, if you have something that somebody wants, even if it's with a large company, do your best to actually leverage that a little bit in the positive side and ask them questions, because you want to know. So I was able to, one, ensure exactly what they want, right? How many rail cars do they want? Is this really going to be the best site for them, or do they have another option, right? They don't have another option, but to just leverage the knowledge was huge. So let me go over that right now. The main thing is also, let me explain to you. There's a main line, and then there's a rail spur. Correct me if I'm wrong on this one. So you've got the main line on my property, have a main line, and then it has a rail spur that comes on my property. And then there is a dead rail that can be brought back to life. I guess that's what he was calling it, because that just means that there was a rail on my property at one time, and now we could bring it back to life, which is great. That basically means, from what I heard, is called a rail upgrade. Now, the other thing is too, is on my property, we could hold about on 4 acres of land, not this site, the site behind me. This site, we're doing 108 units, veteran housing. We're still working on it, but I'm confident we can get this done. And what I love about his company is one thing is, it's a $1 billion company, and they're privately held. And the main reason why he said he kept, the privately held status is he wanted to keep his integrity with the company. He's actually one of the founding members. And I talked to the daughter, and her name was Cassandra, very nice, via email, not on the phone. Him, I actually talked on the phone. And what I got was, he said, look, once you go the public route, now you've got to go with the shareholders. Everything is maximizing profit. The only thing is, some of these shareholders don't have vision. They just want to maximize right now. And I totally understand. There's a beautiful tree. And I totally get that. What comes up, though, at the end of the day is, what's the best thing for you? And for him, he was like, we just want to do the right thing for a long period of time and do the best thing for our company and our customers, and have a great product with integrity. And I love that. Especially a guy that, when's the last time you talked to anybody that runs a $1 billion company? That to me is just cool. I love picking their brains. One of the biggest takeaways too that I got from it was, one, I'm learning this terminology of rail in real time, and he's explaining it to me in simpler format, right? So, the dead spur isn't just dead, it's an opportunity. And that's one thing that he brought up too. He said, dead spur is not a dead spur, it's just opportunity, because now you just could do a rail upgrade. That's huge. The other thing, what I love is having this conversation with him, is he brought up the fact, he says, look, integrity is everything at every level. So when we're having this conversation and I'm bringing it up, say, look, I've got other interested parties, but I will do this for you, because you guys, if it wasn't for you knocking on the door, and it wasn't him, it was one of his managers, Steven, I would have never dug in and see if I actually have rail or not. So for that, I will give you the courtesy of always letting you know that I have an offer on the property, how much I have it for, and you'll have the option to actually beat that offer or not. Totally up to you. You don't have to. And he was appreciative of that. He said, people forget it's the experience that you have with someone that will tell you how long-term you want to work with that person, period. And you never know what comes up. I 100% agree with that. I remember being an Army recruiter at one time in my life, and I was very blessed. I was a young Army recruiter. And at that time that I was an Army recruiter, I remember they always said, establish rapport, and just do the right thing for the student. Because obviously we recruited students, high school students. And when we did that, what we got was these high school students, because we did them right, we actually just explained, I always had the motto of I explained all of the benefits to all of the branches and just let them choose which one. And I just told him the obvious truth. Like, look, the Army's the biggest. It's going to offer you the most, and it's going to offer you the most when it comes down to your signing bonus and everything else. And still to this day, it is. So it's going to give you, free college, free everything, and a possible bonus. Like, you can't beat that if you're coming out of high school. Just do 4 years to get a free scholarship. Some of the other branches, they don't offer that. But whatever, just choose one. No matter what, you got a good head start in life. And honesty was the big thing. Because I had countless students. I remember specifically this one recruit. His name was Andrew Velez. And the only reason why that stuck out was, 1, my middle name is Andrew. 2, my son's name is Andrew. And 3, my mom's biological name was Velez, right? And so with that being said, I remember like having these conversations with him. And then a year after, he called me and he said, I'm ready to join. A year after. And it was not even thinking about it. It was just like, okay, I'm ready. Sergeant Cruz, I'll meet you at the office. Where you want me to meet at? I'm ready to go. I said, man, we haven't talked in a year. He's like, yeah, but I've already given it some thought. I already know. So you have some people that need a lot of information, and then you have some people that don't need any information, but they're ready to go. And so that's kind of what I learned as well, was saying, you know what? Okay, always do the right thing no matter what. And you never know who is going to call you back, who is actually going to give you a shout. And this guy was awesome, because that's exactly what happened. I'm talking to a $1 billion company, but because I was following up, I kept on following up with the guy, Steve, and I kept on following up with I even found the information of the daughter of the founder, because she's a COO. And I was like, look, I haven't heard back from you guys, and I do have other companies that are making us offers. Are you guys interested or not? Because I can go a different route, and that's fine. And I'm being honest. So if there's somebody on your list that you haven't followed up with, get a pen and paper and write this down too, if you can, is literally pick 3 people and follow up with them. I always have a hit list of 15 people a day that I need to be communicating with, contacting with, sending something, moving my projects forward. I think what's really helped me with the capacity of doing a lot of different projects at the exact same time, one, I've learned some hard lessons on the financial side, but the administrative side, I'm getting way better at. And what helped me was, when I was in the military, I went in as a 71 Lehman as administrative specialist. I had the best advanced training ever. It was 90% females. So just imagine, all right? And what I enjoyed though, was I learned administrative at the highest level, because then I was a part of the S1s in the Army. And then I was very blessed at the very end of my career. I did 7 years. Honorable discharge, just FYI. Served in Operation Iraqi Freedom, but I was also a general's aide. And being a general's aide in J4, Logistics Central Command, Logistics and Engineering, it was very interesting because you have to learn in route times, which I learned actually as an Army recruiter. So these are some of the lessons, with just the follow-ups, and to bring it back to when I was talking to Bob, running a $1 billion company, having that direct conversation with them. Well, he was even saying that too. It's like, it's huge to, keep that follow-up process, really do the right thing for your customers. And that's what it's all about. So if you can do that, that's what you want. Now, for those of you that are still listening to this, I'm actually going to do a part 2 of this, and only you're going to know because you're at the 9-minute mark. So I also had a conversation with CSX and their representative, because now where we're going with all these properties is I need what they call, and you want to do the same thing. So if you have rail on your property, I got the mic right here, you want to make sure that you have what they call a letter of approval. That basically means that so you're looking for a couple things. Number one, you're looking for the Senior Industrial Development Department. And that is for whoever you're dealing with on the rail, right? So that's a senior industrial development department. Whoever is taking care of that, who's the senior, right? That's my contact. Then you've got the junior, which they don't say junior, it's just the other individual inside the industrial development department. is basically the engineer. And that engineer is going to be the one that approves or disapproves the site, period. And Chase is the one that does that. So once Chase approves it, then you want to get a conceptual plan. A lot of times you can get a free conceptual plan from an engineer, but it's with the caveat. It's like, hey, you're going to use him once it's approved, because they also do the horizontal and vertical plans as well. So that's huge as well. And horizontal means the horizontal plans to actually get the project going, and then they got the vertical side as well if you're going that route. So long story short, or long story really long, right? You're like, I'm getting better at the story time, even though I've always shared stories, but I'm getting more confident. Is having this conversation once you get the approval from your industrial development department or industrial department from the rail. Now what's going to happen is, if everybody, the conceptual plan is done, they approve the site, they saw the site, they're like, yes, we can move forward. Now you're going to request a letter of approval. That letter of approval is gold. That's what you need, because it's going to have their letterhead. It's going to showcase, hey, we're good to go, right? And then you could actually showcase even your approved plans that you have, even for the rail as well. So you may not even be able to see this, but this is actually the conceptual plan. I know, really cool, right? This is the conceptual plan, and you could probably kind of see it of where the line is going to be. So the cool thing is, once you have that approval, you could bring it to your investors. You could pre-sell the property if that's really what you wanted. You could do a land lease on this property. There's so many different opportunities that you can do. The other thing is, what I learned as well was dealing with distribution. So I got a friend of mine. He runs an amazing up and coming gas station franchise, and he has to purchase fuel. And so then I have another partner that I just recently met that he owns a fuel distribution center. Well, the most expensive way to get fuel is freight. Well, not the most expensive, but it's more expensive than rail, right? So if you go through rail rather than freight is semi-trucks. Rail is cheaper, but rail is only cheaper if it's further or you have a large capacity that you're constantly moving in rail. There's another thing I've learned. So you want to make sure, does it financially even make sense? So what I learned was the distribution of, let's say, the fuel, for example, that means you have to get a rail tanker. A rail tanker, one rail tanker is about 200 grand, but it holds 4 times the capacity of one semi freight. So one semi freight, it takes 4 on one rail, on one rail car for their distribution, right? And so that's huge. I didn't know that. So there's huge benefits if you have a fuel distribution. It all matters how much fuel you're bringing in, because the other catch is you got to store it, right? So what happens is, in fuel, it basically goes like this. So this is the example. You get it from the ground, right? So it comes from in the ground, comes out of the ground. Then somebody has to take that and refine it. So then it goes through a refinery. Then from the refinery, they ship it to wherever it needs to go. The only catch is, now you have to go through what they call a jobber. A jobber is kind of like a middleman. I don't know why they call it a jobber, but they call it a jobber. So then it goes through a jobber. A jobber is like the broker to make sure it's whatever. It's secure, it's good to go, it's good fuel, it's stamped, right? Then it goes from there to a distributor. That distributor, then he's the one that actually takes it from the jobber, even though the jobber doesn't really do anything other than approve it. And then he gives it to the distributor. The distributor then puts it in the tanks for the gas station. So that's the whole way that you do it, right? So in the ground, refinery, ship to wherever it needs to go, refinery, jobber, distributor. And then distributor back in the tank, back in your vehicle, then back in the atmosphere, whatever. So Now you have an education on how that works. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. I'm still just learning this, so I'm not saying I know everything. I am not an expert. I'm just a real estate developer learning a new asset class, and it's called rail, and I am doing my best to track everything as much as I can and then teach it back, because if you ever read the Cone of Learning, the fastest way that you could actually learn something is then teach it back to other people, just FYI. So that's the fastest way that you could actually get it. So I am doing my best to capture everything and sharing it back. And if you have rail on your property and if I could assist, great. I definitely got a lot more education, a lot more context now than I did 2 weeks ago. So it's definitely been huge. So anyway, long story short, if you could bring down your fuel cost, the biggest one is going to be transportation. Now, I didn't know almost 90 cents on every gallon, almost $1 on every gallon is taxed. I mean, it actually goes to local municipalities. That's more than the actual people, the business of it. But it is what it is. Like, it's just a law of the land right now, and that's the best that we could do. So that tax, that's one thing that you could, if you could bring down, that would be huge, because that would be huge on everybody. So instead of $3 a gallon, now you could spend $2 a gallon, because you just took off all the tax. So the other item, what I learned was, even if you could change it from freight to rail, and you're bringing in that fuel just at a lower cost, 10 cents a gallon, whatever amount that is, that's significant for the customer and the consumer. Now, can the gas station individual make more money? Of course he can. But to me, he could also bring it down just a little bit, still make a good hit. But at the end of the day, now you're able to bring down the cost of everybody in that area. Only reason why I say that is the more and more that I can appreciate the knowledge that I'm learning as a real estate developer. Even earlier I was talking about churches and their opportunities, nonprofits that I've worked with, all different types of sites, the veteran housing that I'm doing. I'm doing my best to kind of like be what I call the America's developer, right? To me. Now you're seeing this in real time, because I never saw this cat before. This is actually the first time ever. And you're seeing this because I have never seen this cat before, ever. Okay, you're gonna see in this real time. This is a wild cat. Never have seen it before, ever. And he's, all right, we're capturing this in real time. This is a cute cat too. Wow, interesting. Come here. All right, so this is, as a developer, this is what happens. Sometimes you get wild cats, you gotta have this conversation. All right. Pretty cool, right? So you never know what you're gonna see as a developer. But what comes up for me is, the goal is to share this knowledge so that you can, in real time, capture what I'm getting and what I'm doing and what I'm up to, and see what's possible. See what's possible in the land. I still believe heavily on the American dream, especially after being in other countries, is that we have an opportunity through development to truly transform our community, ourselves, us, just the normal people, me and you, we talking right now, right? It is possible, but it takes something. It takes something in a sense of saying, hey, how can I really perfect my craft and then share my craft as well? Or how can I have more opportunities and create that opportunity as well? To me, it's keep on doing the best that you can, have integrity in everything that you do. Make sure 100% that you have no ego. Kill your ego every day. I do my best to kill that every day. That's why I still wake up at 1, 2 in the morning and get straight to work. Because, if I've got to do this development myself, then I'm like, okay, that's why I've been studying for the last 127 days straight, every single day for an hour to 2 hours a day to get my GC license, so I could save on cost to make the veteran housing a reality, because I've got to save on cost. So many things that I'm grateful for. And I think the biggest thing is just the opportunity to learn and be in the same rooms, from when I was a general's aide to meeting certain celebrities, to even when I was at my church, I was able to be around a pastor that grew a church from literally a storefront to the second largest church in the nation at one time. And I was his right-hand man doing security at that time. We had over 15,000 members. It was crazy. But I saw him from nothing and then growing. And I also saw how ego can get in the way. I've been able to also go from an employee at one time in my life, in my mid-30s, when I worked at Clever Investor, I was just a mentor, to then actually getting a small piece of the company, but running the largest portion that mattered. I was a director of mentorship. I went from just making hourly rate to $500,000 a year, and then leading over 1,000 students and creating the curriculum and everything else. And the way that I move so fast in everything I do, my goal is I just take ownership of all of it. It doesn't matter if I'm an employee or not. So I challenge you, wherever you're at, just be the best for you. That's it. Just be the best for you. Everything else will work out. So if you get something out of this, fantastic. You can go to trueinvestors.com. Hopefully you get some more learning out of that. I'm putting as much information on all of the lessons that I'm learning on each different site on the website as well. And so it could just be a living, breathing, educational piece as well. And if we could do something in the future, great. And if you could learn something from it and really help you and your family and your future, do it. I'll talk to you soon. Be blessed.